unlike what most people think, that incumbency, and you now quoted somebody saying that 40% of incumbent,
he already has 40%.
He already has 40%. Now, let me tell you, the advantages of incumbent are basically three. One is name. If you say Bola Tinubu, even the boy on the street knows Bola Tinubu. Why? Because he's the president. So name is important in politics. Then two, he has the control of the machinery of government. And in a system where rule of law and constitutionalism and institutions are weak, like in the case of our country, he can direct the security agencies to play his game. He will have unfettered access to state treasury, and then he will have a structure, already established governmental structure that will be of help. These are the advantages of an incumbent, but he has a huge disadvantage also. And like this regime, where its policies and programs and projects have caused hardship and disillusionment in society, incumbency becomes a disadvantage. It is for the opposition to now narrow on this, come up with the right messages, and come up with the right means of driving this message into the society, and the opposition and the incumbent is as good as gone. We did that in 2015. Yeah. I have told you here, and I have said it severally, we came up with the idea of forming the APC and then using the APC and the weaknesses, the disadvantages of the PDP government then to get the government out. And in this administration, it has even tripled of these disadvantages of the PDP government. So as far as I'm concerned, the incumbency in this political dispensation now is a huge disadvantage that is a huge political capital for the opposition to use only if the opposition knows how to use it.
Their messaging must be right.
The messages must be right. The means of delivering of the message must be right. And the time, because strategy is very critical. Time is very critical in strategy. If you come early, you mess it up. If you come late, you mess it up. So you have to time it and give it, at the right time.
Like a
Well, sir. Well, a lot of people have seen you in clips and pictures with this terrorist where you know where they are. We've communicated with them. You've even as far as negotiating with them, So a lot of people believe that since you have, this the knowledge about all this, is it that the government does not have the power or the equipment to know where these terrorists are to tackle insecurity?
The government knows every terrorist by name and by location. I don't go yellow. I don't go to the terrorists alone. I call the police, I call the security, everybody. I will go to the MES, another place. In fact, when we went to one terrorist, I went even with women with me. Go to the bush. The thing is, you didn't see it because the camera was not concentrated on it. I don't go hello.
This is a direct message to people from Southwest. They have been calling us Northerns all sort of foul names, that we are parasites, that we are useless, that they are going to teach us a lesson 2027, that even if Tinubu excelled to become the next president of Nigeria, that they are going to bring somebody from South, not the North. Maybe they have baby mentality. They don't know the North. They don't know our history. One state in northern Nigeria is equivalent to the whole of Southwest. My lecturer once told me something. My Calabar lecturer once told me something. He said, never ever in your life trust a Yoruba land. He said, if a Yoruba man shake your hand, he mean maybe or no. While in your heart, he mean yes. While in his heart, he mean no. He said, if a Yoruba man nod his head, he mean no. They are hypocrite in nature. He said, never ever trust a Yoruba man. Our northern brothers, they make a great mistake. Me personally, I do not vote for Tinubu because I already know the nature of Yoruba. They are hypocrites. They behave like chameleons. And once they hijack power, their true color will prevail. And we have seen what Tinubu is doing, what Tinubu is trying to do regarding the tax reforms. The governor of Bauchi, Bala Mohammed, has warned President Bola Tinubu that his reform policy is anti-northern Nigeria, that we are going to teach him a lesson. This is not oligarchy. You understand? If he insisted that he is arrogant, that he insisted that the tax reform must come to stay, we are going to teach him a lesson. 2027, he's going to lose election. His state where he come from, Osun State and Lagos State, did not vote for him. 2023 election. He did not win. He did not win election in Osun and Lagos State. Did not voted for him. Me personally, I did not vote for him. And this fight did not voted for him. He only got 8.4 million. This fight, four people came from the north. He did not even get a massive vote. You understand? Let me assure you, people from Southwest, that we are going to teach you a lesson. This is your hypocrite nature. We are going to teach you a lesson. You are going to lose election. And once a Yoruba man lost election, a Yoruba man will never ever rule this country. Even thinking of becoming a vice. Let me tell you, we are going to teach this Yoruba, this direct message to Yoruba land. Once Tinubu lost election, no any Yoruba man will ever click to power again.
Good evening, everyone. I want you all to listen to this. And I'll read. We don't support Nigeria breakup. Unity sacrosanct. I repeat, we don't support Nigeria breakup. Unity sacrosanct. Northern leaders want Trump. A company of Northern leaders held a meeting, and they have issued a very stern warning to Donald Trump, telling him that they do not support Nigeria breakup. And that unity of Nigeria is sacrosanct. I watched them on TV reading the communique, and then I quizzed myself a few questions. And what were the questions I asked myself? The political leaders of Benue State, Plateau State, and Southern Kaduna, all of the other states whose terrain, geographical space, have been under attack for quite a long time. People whose states have been bleeding for quite a long time. Part of the meeting. Is the Benue State governor part of the meeting? Is the Plateau State governor part of the meeting? What about the Southern Kaduna political leaders? Are they all part of that same meeting? Because I do not think that if I have to be the governor of my state, knowing what has been happening for quite a long time to my people, I will be able to sit down in such a garden with such a people to discuss the unity of Nigeria. Unity on what basis? I want to let you know that there are only three things involved here. Firstly, is that they want this unity in order for them to advance their selfishness that is predicated on incurable greed. I repeat, they want this unity in order for them to advance their selfishness that is predicated on incurable greed. When I mean greed to the highest level that has no parallel anywhere. Evil greed, everything you can think of. That's the reason why they want the so-called contraption to exist as one. That even if we are dying, they are orchestrating killings upon killings, we have to remain one as one entity. And yet nothing is done. Nobody is arrested. Nobody is punished for anything. The government, nothing is happening in order to stem the tide of the incessant killings of human beings in that country called Nigeria. A zoo, for that matter. Number 2 reason, I would say they are very hyper apprehensive. They are now very hyper apprehensive, if I can say that. You know what I mean? Because they're now seeing the handwriting now on the wall, and I appreciate it. If any of you think that Nigeria is going to survive it, it is not. Because I've been following what is happening in the US, and I can see that the congressmen in the United States of America are now speaking about Biafra, are now turning their eyes in the dimension of what is happening in the zoo, particularly in the eastern part of the zoo. For the moment, they have now turned their eyes to the cries, to the problems, bedeviling that region of the contraption we call Nigeria, at least for now that we are all lumped in together. You see, number 3, I will also let you know that on account of what the strike, what Trump had done just, about 3 or 4 weeks now, they are now also hyper exasperated. I repeat, they are hyper exasperated. Why? Because America has delved in, at least to support, to say, look, we can stem the tide, of this nonsense. We do not want this rubbish to happen. That is the reason why now, having seen the handwriting on the wall, the way things are going, they have come to the realization that the only way they can remain relevant in everything now is to still see how, let us be one Nigeria, let us be this. No, it can never work. We are saying it can never work. It can never work. You want a one Nigeria in order for you to advance, your incurable greed, to perpetrate the heinous crime, the atrocities we have been seeing and we've been speaking about for a very long time. And I want to let a few people know about the misconception of Sharia. I've always said it clearly, and I've argued with a whole lot of the Muslim brethren that if there is actually Sharia, there's sincerity, of Sharia in the so-called North, the northern region would have been the most progressive, the richest region in the whole of Nigeria, if not Africa. There is nothing like Sharia in the North. That's a fact about it. You see, they are just lying, pretending. If there is Sharia, who are the highest thieves, criminals in governments? And what does Sharia say about people like that? If there is Sharia entrenched in the North, will such people exist? They cannot. They cannot. I'm telling you authoritative. I'm telling you categorically. There is nothing like Sharia. If there is Sharia, none of them who are the highest criminals in governments. In 2015, I wrote it quite clearly, very boldly. I told the late President Buhari, I said, if you're actually a sincere president, if you're actually sincere, publish all the names of all the criminals in Nigeria, irrespective of wherever they come from. Publish all their names. Let us see the highest criminals in government. You see, and I tell you clearly here, today, fact check it, and I'm ready for anything. The northern Muslim politicians and the Yorubas are the highest thieves in government. They're the highest embezzlers, looters of the government treasury in that zoo you call Nigeria. That was why it's like Buhari saw it clearly and he couldn't do it again. That was the same Buhari was telling you. They were even singing in the North. That as soon as he comes into power, all the corrupt politicians will run away. They will run away. Masugudu, Sugudu. A lot of you are aware of that song. When Buhari came in, he even rather entrenched tribalism, nepotism, corruption to the core. He took it to the highest level, contrary to his promises. contrary to what people had thought was going to happen if he takes over the mantle of leadership in that zoo you call Nigeria. You see, so now I've been asking myself, I do not know how people like the governor of Benue State, Plateau, Southern Kaduna, and the rest, whose states have been bleeding for a long time, would sit down and still be discussing the unity of Nigeria. That the unity of
He is not a clean man because he's a Fulani man. Do you know that all the Fulanis, as I told you earlier, they are all terrorists. These are the people that migrated from Futajelo. They are Fulani people. Fulani people in Africa are warlike people. They are in history addressed as nomad, wanderers. They wander from place to place, bearing arms, AK-47, spears, sword. I don't know what they say, javelin. I'm telling you, machete, bow and arrow, guns. Why should you make Nuhu Ribadu National Security Advisor? Sometimes I look at Igbo, I say, China the same God create Igbo man and the other tribes in Nigeria. Nuhu Ribadu being a Fulani man is a threat to Nigerian security now. Why should somebody wake up and say Nuhu Ribadu National Security Advisor? You have seen it. Giving Fulani Unity Allah AK-47 amounted the fact that is among the sponsors and the financiers of terrorists in Nigeria. There's no two ways I should interpret this to my viewers.
Even the former Minister of Defense.
Yes, Minister of Defense, Metawale and Ahmed Badaru. He was among the financiers of the Fulani herdsmen as well Boko Haram. Why? They are from Fulani extraction. All these are Fulani tribesmen.
It was alleged that US asked them to resign. You know,
failure to resign, United States will come here and fish him out. Failure to tell Ribadu to resign over this giving AK-47 to herdsmen apprehended in Kwara State. Nuhu Ribadu should resign. We want to rid off this administration from anybody that comes from Fulani extraction. They are all terrorists. We have been saying this on and on and on. As long as Nigerian tribes, ethnicities, allow Fulani to live among them, insecurity will never finish here. Nigeria will still be facing this plight of bloody clutches on and on. Everywhere in the north, southwest, southeast, and even in the mid-belt.
Okay. But do you not think that, just like you said, if Donald Trump comes, a lot of people say the moment the US government finally, you know, start acting, that might be the end of Nigeria. Do you agree with that notion?
No, it's a lie. It's a lie. If US starts acting, I think that might be the end of Fulani in Nigeria.
Okay, the Fulani.
The Arab Mughareb. I mean, the part of Arab that are too bloody. I mean, the desert Moors, the desert barbarians, all those ones that migrated from southern Algeria, southern Libya, northern Sudan, northern Niger, and exude into Nigeria as our, let me say, guests. The way they holding on the Hausa original owners of North, there will be no peace in Nigeria.